when I look at the body language and well, the energy with which Hilda gave a speech, you feel very much encouraged, and especially during this period where in a lot of societies things are quite complicated because of this COVID-19. So when I go outside and when I hear and get news from some other colleagues from other city centers, and when I see the body language and the health of IITA in the middle of everything, I can't stop just thanking you for this kind of spirit that all of us we have, and how we were able basically to maintain an institution that is dynamic, it is during this period where everybody was really suffering. So the team today is about the women in leadership and the challenge. I been reflecting every time about what Hilda says here. The quantity and the proportion is true that 25%, 27 when we struggle, we try to arrive to 20 to 30. Yes, that number counts, but that's not the whole story. You can be few and be the leader. As a matter of fact, in an institution like this, we have 1,500 people. There is only one DG, am I right? So probably one leader. So we can't all be DG, but we can play very important role in the institution. And you've been doing that, and I want to give you a few examples of where your leadership is most of the time not communicated, but maybe hidden, where you've been able to make a big difference in this institution and outside. So before the COVID-19, I was in Zambia, visiting our research station there. Spent 3 days going all over the places. And there are two things that I need to do there. I need to connect with the president, but the president was not important. I need to communicate with the Minister of Finance because I realized that when we are doing the fundraising in IITA for this institution, we made for almost 40 years the big mistake of every time going to discuss with the Minister of Agriculture. And when you do that, and you stop there, and nothing happened. You said you're happy, you've convinced the Minister of Agriculture after a discussion of half an hour, but you wait for 2 or 3 years, nothing happened from the decisions that you've taken. Basically, the Minister of Agriculture will tell you, I want to increase your funding. Take the case of Nigeria here. But it will never happen because the Minister of Agriculture is not equipped and can't just convince the Minister of Finance because the Minister of Finance is the one taking decisions. So I went to Zambia and David Chikoe organized, so you meet the Minister of Agriculture and this and that. And I said, no, I want to meet the Minister of Finance. David, who is director, spent probably 1 month trying to look for an appointment with Minister of Finance. It never happened. And it happened only the time Tamara, who is a young lady who's in charge of relations, decided to take that basically on her. And Tamara organized that meeting. It was probably the best meeting I ever got. And the Minister of Finance basically decided to even visit the IITA, didn't know about IITA. That is leadership. And see what happens in this kind of situation. If there is further increase one day of funding, it's not going to be because of Sanginga or David, it's going to be because of Tamara. I see her smiling. There, Tamara, you did very well. There in Zambia, in one afternoon, we went to do the field visit. And the people living in Zambia has a big piece of land which we acquired. It belongs to ITA. And Zambia is a very good place for soybean cultivation and maize. And when I was there, I saw big piece of land cultivated, mechanized, something you've never seen here. I've been telling our farm office, we want to see the soybean mechanized. No, it doesn't happen here. And in Zambia, I was saying finally, ITA is able to show or even to teach people that we can mechanize soybean, build it on big spaces and so on. So I ask, who has been doing this work? I was just thinking that must be one farm managers and so on. No, that work was done by two young girls. Two young girls. One staff, well, the PG, probably 5, and one intern, two young. And I said, well, I took a decision that day and I said, you must come to Ibadan. You will come to Ibadan to come and teach our farm officer how to do soybean at scale. It's unfortunate that just 1 month later, we couldn't travel, they couldn't come because of the COVID, and I hope they're going to still come. Those two young ladies, that's the proud of IT. They don't need to be directors for them to make the difference. That's leadership, right? Then I came back here. During that period of COVID, I remember March, April, when we're discussing about how to resolve the financial crisis, how to resolve all the problem of basically the scenario of cut 30%, 40%. Remember, we had to send almost 300 people out, 37 scientists to resolve that crisis. And what's thinking about what to do? You know, this past story, you made sacrifices. You said, well, I don't want to go and leave I don't want my colleague to go. We can share the burden. But we said as well, the second part of the strategy was to accelerate our resource mobilization. And to do that is not just you wake up as a DG, I want money because we have this. You have to get a strategy. You have to get arguments. And I was just looking for arguments. And then one day, Mercy sent a video of her work on GoSeed. During that pandemic, they were distributing seeds to Abeokuta here and there of cassava, or these plantlets. And I said, wow, this is being done during COVID. And it's being done only to Ogun State and so on. I called Tony and I said, Tony, write a letter to all the head of the governors to allow ITA and Mercy team to go all over the place to distribute basically these seeds. Most of the governors responded yes, but I use that PowerPoint she sent to me when I was writing to all the donors, Gates Foundation, USAID, IFAD, ADB, I was attaching that video. You know, those big people, when you write a letter, it happened to me too. I don't fully read the letter. I pick maybe one sentence in it, which is really interesting, and I respond to that. You have to do that very quickly because you have plenty of things to do. In those letters, when those donors were responding, the only thing they were saying, we congratulate ITA because during this period, everybody's been looking for solution and you have the solution already. Yes, the story goes this way. Between March and December, ITA was the only center which was able to mobilize from donors $28 million. We've never done that in just 6 months. So I would say part of it was what Mercy was able to do. Remember, that's leadership. The story of Mercy is very important to say. And 3 years ago, same Mercy, I discovered her, and she was only PG-12, having a PhD. And in my visit, I was visiting her lab without her knowing when I saw what was happening there. And I said, who is doing this? As the indicator said, as Mercy. I didn't know Mercy. But that day, I looked for her all over the place in campus. And I remember very well, while driving, I met her near the training office. She was passing. And they said, that's Mercy. And I said, Mercy. I stopped, I greeted her, and I asked her what are you doing and so on. This, to cut the story short, her status changed that day. And yeah, people in HR, they say I misbehave, but that's good misbehavior, am I right? So that's leadership, and today, the whole institution, Mercy is leading now the GoSeed, is probably the largest private big company that we are creating here. She's leading it, and all the Get Foundation and so. So she doesn't need to be a director to be a very strong leader in that sense. Another example of leadership. So this young lady finished her youth service. Her uncle, he was one of the executive director of IWMI, Dr. William, probably you know him. And Dr. William sent a note to me, because we are good friends. And he said, well, Sanginga, I have my cousin or my niece who is struggling. I don't know what to do with her. She doesn't. And I said, well, what does she study? Economics. Oh, she wants to come and spend some time to be an intern or even a casual if that's possible, because I don't want her to stay at home. And I said, okay, yeah, she's welcome. And when she came, I put her in a youth program. And I said, okay, you can learn from all other people there and so on. And that was 2 years ago when I created the STEP program, the Start Early program. And I advised her to do her MSc based on that program and start working there. Young lady. Bonlale today is probably among the most intelligent people I've ever met. This young lady who started with the program, Fashola, the STEP program. If you've never been to Fashola, please go there, see what ITA is able to do in village. We rehabilitated a school which was almost non-existent. Fashola Grammar School. That school today is the home economics lab, which is better than UI, in the village there. So she managed that program to the point where we took the governor, Makinde, to that program to show what we are doing. Those young people show you. Bolale, she was able to convince Governor Makinde to scale that program in 6 other schools. And Dr. or Engineer Governor Makinde has invested $1.2 million paid to ITA to extend that program because basically of Bola. This is a young lady, intern, today a leader of probably, this program is going to be probably the largest program that all the governors are going to copy here in Nigeria. And just to tell you, this is the first time that the Oyo state government or any government in Nigeria has invested more than $1 million. And is paid, it's not all the politics and so on. So really, that's this young lady, she's so good. Every week you get a report even without asking. And these reports, when you send it all over the place, is, oh, who has done it? You think is a DDG in my office who's written that report. No, this is a young leader. So that's leadership. And that program today is in DRC, is in Kenya, is going to go across Africa. Okay, Hilda talk about Lina Tripathi. That's the leadership we're trying. We have 4 directors. Now, at least slowly, we are increasing the numbers, and we hope, yeah, Hilda is here. All my DDGs research, they've been female. So I trust them, they've been doing a good work. And yes, we do have some limitations, but the idea has been there as well. The last person I'm going to talk about is Regina Kapinga. Regina Kapinga, she worked for the Gates Foundation. No, first of all, she was a student here. And she got her degree and she went to work for SIP. From SIP, she went to the Gates Foundation. And I remember very well, in 2011, people were here, they knew how the situation was bad. But in 2012, among the first people who visited us and gave us a grant was Regina Kapinga. If YAM is what it is today in the Untitled program, is because of Regina. She invested the first $12 million in YAM Yiswa. She created it. So when she went to leave the Gates Foundation, I convinced her to come and work for IIT. And she was in Tanzania. When the head of ITA Uganda station resigned, I was just thinking about what to do with that station. It was probably going to close. But we sent Regina there. But in 14 months, Regina revived the station, even extended it. Now we are even in northern Uganda. She's very good in fundraising. I think she's going to be probably among the future director here. Anyway, so let me I gave you a few examples just to tell you that leadership is not every time having big position. Leadership for me is people who are able to effect some changes. In fact, the word leadership means you have a lead, you have a ship, right? So the leader is the one driving and the ship takes a lot of people. So you don't not necessarily to be on the top like Bolale to make the kind of the changes we like to make. So now I finish this speech. It will be just another speech. And next year I'll come and make another speech. Right? But, and I keep saying, we can get some targets. Really, we assess together, we put together a target, and it could be one person. I mean, you're just producing one person like Bolale, right? Or producing two people like those young ladies um, in Zambia, or producing many of Tamara who can help us take the lead in this political field. So we can put some targets. It could be small targets. And yes, I'm going to and just give you an example of a target. This morning, when I was making the usual tour of IITA, and I was saying, the governor comes here and run every time. He does 6 kilometers. Yeah, because now we see a lot of people running because GMOB road is good, am I right? And I was just thinking that if my maximum target for running can be only 3 kilometers, right? I'll try to say next year, let me put it to 6. And I'll be walking toward the 6 kilometers. Maybe every single month making half kilometers until I reach that target. So my challenge to you would be to say, yes, we keep every time saying 24%, we have to increase to 30%. And as I said, the quality of that 30%, 24% could be so great that the numbers probably do not count. You can have a big number, but you don't have impact. But you can have a small number, but with a great impact. So my question to you would be to say, within IITA and the women group, what can we put forward as a challenge and we'll target and work toward it for the whole year? And I keep asking that question every time. Please think about this, right? And the last thing I want to say, the CG is reforming. Hilda mentioned that. It's a serious reform and going to be a profound reform. And we're doing everything we can do to make sure that we are all protected, and ITA plays a very important role in this reform. Maybe that could be some of the things you think about. How can we, in this positioning, ITA within the CG, what kind of role we here? And this is not every time about position that I want to be in this position, I was in that position. You're trying to do something which is going to be different, which is going to affect the whole CG, and they'll be saying, oh, this comes from ITA's women, right? Think about that. And again, thank you very much for, it's so exciting that I could continue talking, but I will have to go and put my shirt. And thank you very much again for inviting me. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, DG, for your inspiring address always. We'll move now to the speech by Mr. Stephen Cole, and it's on GDI Advancing Women. Steve, over to you.
All right, thank you, Zaina. Good morning, everyone. I'm speaking today from the IITA Research Station here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Karibuni Sana. I'd like to compliment DG Sanginga for his address. A lot of amazing stories he talked about today. and the address by our DDG of Corporate Services, Ms. Cooper, and for the opening remarks by the head of HR, Ms. Mendoza, all very inspiring. So today we are celebrating the exceptional efforts of women who are creating pathways towards the achievement of a more equal future and recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. The theme of this year's International Women's Day is Women in Leadership Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. It is of critical importance that women play a significant role in leading the efforts at work, in government, in the community, as we continue to respond and gradually recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet we know deep-rooted structural inequalities limit women's role in leading these efforts. These same inequalities also prevent women from holding leadership positions in the workplace, which I hope all of you would agree is unacceptable in this day and age. I'm learning from the excellent training provided to me as a focal point by the CGIAR Gender Diversity and Inclusion Initiative that unconscious bias often shapes who leads or who gets invited to the decision-making table or who gets hired and promoted, for example. So unconscious bias is a very powerful force that creates advantages for some and disadvantages for others. Women are disproportionately impacted by the unconscious biases that are pervasive in the workplaces of most institutions around the world. Getting rid of or reducing this bias takes time, great efforts, and commitment by all. And the end result means a much more equal and inclusive workplace that enables everyone to reach their full potential so that we can better innovate moving forward, and especially as we transition into the one CGIAR. So on this day, when we take time to celebrate women around the world, I ask you this question: how are you removing the barriers in the workplace to ensure that IITA harnesses the power of women's leadership to realize a more equal, more inclusive workplace in the future? Are you standing along the sidelines waiting for others to act? Or are you in the game and making sure you are doing your part in creating positive change? Over the next hour, we aim to showcase some examples of women holding different types of leadership positions at IITA. We'll hear about their experiences trailblazing at IITA. We'll also hear some from some others on their perspectives about how they're creating opportunities for women to lead at IITA. So back to you, Zaina, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Thank you very much, Steve. So just in the interest of time, I'll just quickly give a few words on the first section and take-home messages that we can have. Investing in women and girls is smart economics. Women may not be a strong or representative sample in the institutions, but their contributions can make a tremendous impact. So we can all lead from where we stand. And then ultimately, we're all challenged individually to look at ourselves and see how we are practically contributing towards gender equality here in our workspace, IIT. So for the next session, we'll be hearing a series of presentations from 8 women and 2 men from our institutions, spread across, obviously, our stations. And they will tell us their challenges, opportunities in leadership, and the men would also tell us how they are contributing to enhancing the work of the female counterpart in their place of work. So we'll start with Titilayo Falade. So Titilayo, if you're ready, it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Women make up equal population as men do. Men and women are equal. According to the World Bank, there are about 50% women and equal percentage for men. But what there isn't is unequal access to rights and opportunities, as DDG Hilde mentioned. The right to education is an example. There's no equality between males and females in this. In sub-Saharan Africa, 29% of girls are out of school. For boys, it's 18%. And sometimes this exclusion or this limitation in women's access or girls' access to education begins from the time that they are very young. When a child is born, if she's a girl child, she's celebrated as someone's future wife or as a future homemaker. For men, they're celebrated generally for boys as future leaders. And so the girl is given opportunities to improve her skills in homemaking, cleaning, taking care of the home, whereas boys are given more access to education, to networking, apprenticeship opportunities. And my choose to challenge statement for this is that I choose to challenge this way of thinking that limits girls and women from gaining leadership skills. This unconscious bias is built, as mentioned by Steve Cole, when this happens. Like Hilde, I was treated equally at home, and fortunately, I've had access to good education. Today, my doctorate degree has enabled me to continue to make contributions regarding food safety. 10 years ago, I began to get involved much more in aflatoxins. And one of the reasons I was intrigued by aflatoxins is because women and children were disproportionately exposed to the natural toxins because of their diets. So women can transmit these toxins to their unborn children through the umbilical cord and to infants through breast milk. Yet foods given to women and weaning foods given to children contain alarmingly high levels of aflatoxins. And this is something that I wanted to be part of addressing. For those who do not know, aflatoxins are natural poisons produced by a ubiquitous fungus called Aspergillus. And it leads to liver cancer, other cancers, and causes irreversible cognitive and physical development in children. But what is sad is that women don't have access to the knowledge and information about these dietary toxins because of illiteracy, which is high among women, and because they have limited representation in leadership roles where some of these things are discussed. So online resources reach more men than they do women because there's a gender divide regarding access to information technology, with men having much more access. In village meetings, when the heads of community groups are invited for discussions, they are mostly men. When household leaders are called, they are mostly men. And so women don't get to have their voice heard, and their representation is reduced at such times. At IITA, AflaSafe has been developed as a solution to aflatoxins, and women in IITA have contributed to the advancement of IITA. There are women like Charity Mutegi, Juliet Akelo, Chichi Obilo, Valentine Akato, Jane Kamal, Dina Kofiga, Esther Chukwu, Habiba, Shade, Anu in the lab. And there are many of us that are contributing to the efforts in ensuring that aflatoxin management continues in the continent. From national institutions, we've had people like Mrs. Denloye, Dr. Mudashir, Mrs. Eze, Mrs. Shadi, and Georgina support aflatoxin management and the advancement of AflaSafe. And I use this opportunity to thank them for their efforts and to celebrate them and their contributions. And my choose to challenge statement for this is I choose to challenge an unequal world that prevents women from making important contributions. At the heat of COVID-19 pandemic, research activities and field training slowed down due to physical distancing requirements. Children needed to be out of school. And As women are mostly the ones responsible for home care, it meant that they had to combine their work for those who still had their jobs with caring for the home. As a young mother myself, mother of young children, I had to make domestic arrangements and occasionally work remotely to be able to handle these challenges, to take care of meetings virtually and also trainings where possible. Sadly, with COVID-19 confinements and heightened stress, there were more women exposed to domestic violence, and I choose to challenge this. I'm glad for IITA's policies that are becoming more friendly to women, especially young women. And I'm also glad that we have role models like Kamala Harris and Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala that have chosen to challenge the glass ceiling. Men and women are equal. Let us choose to challenge inequalities in access to rights and opportunities. Like equality in numbers, let us have equality in contributions of males and females at all levels. This is my choose to challenge statement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Titilayo. And for your information, Titilayo Falade is an associate scientist. We are based here in Ibadan, Nigeria, HQ or West Africa Hub. Our next speaker is Diana Kirungi, research associate in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa Hub. So Diana, over to you.
Okay, I'll give a brief overview of my pathway in leadership. I hope you can hear me clearly. Yeah, so my key opportunities are in my environment and the inspirations that I have around me. I'm not segregated. Which have been able to used to look up left, Jasoni Laurent is very energetic.
We are having trouble hearing you, Diana.
So, a good.
Hello, Diana. All right. We will move to the next speaker, and hopefully we'll be able to connect with Diana after this speaker. So Tamara Mwanza is the executive assistant in Lusaka, Zambia, Southern African Hub. So we'll ask Tamara to take over, and we'll see if we can reconnect with Diana later on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. I'm honored to be speaking on this very important day. A happy Women's Day to you all. I hope you can hear me clearly. Okay, so a bit of history on my career, on my leadership career. Prior to joining the Institute in 2016, I worked in the banking sector for 8 years. And I joined as customer service officer, and I left at the position of branch manager. So currently in the Institute, I'm serving my first promotional role. I joined as logistics officer, and I currently got promoted to another role. I'm going to speak about 3 things that drive me in my leadership journey or my work journey, so to say. First of all, I would like to talk about passion. I would like to encourage you to be passionate about what you do. What drives me in all the roles that I do is my passion for the job. It's very easy for me to go an extra mile because I'm passionate about what I do. Number 2 is making a difference. You must strive to make a difference in everything you do. Bring some innovation to the table. Bring some ideas. And if you work for an organization like the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, they they appreciate innovation and new ideas. I'm very honored to have been in the Director General's speech. It really motivates me. I can't say much there. Number 3 is academic improvement. To that young lady who aspires to be a leader, you have to keep learning. Even if you can't afford to go to university, I started with a diploma course. I did 2 diplomas before I got a job which could allow me to fund myself to go into university. So start small, start at certificate level, improve thereon. I'm currently studying for my MBA in project management. I need to keep learning. That way it is very easy to be put in such a position, a leadership role, if you keep improving yourself academically. Talking about the COVID and the few challenges, I'm sure most working women and mothers would identify with this one. When the pandemic hit our country, Zambia, last year, we had to go on a partial lockdown. So meaning we had to work from home. I was one of those that had to work from home. Being a mother of 2 toddlers under 5, and then I had to let go of our commuting house helper because I needed to reduce the exposure to my family. So I had to juggle between being a mother, running a home, and doing my office duties. It took a bit of planning and adjustment, but I managed, and then I managed to help colleagues who were facing challenges in that regard. So COVID brought itself challenges, but we've worked through it. Opportunities to other people. I help mostly women in my free time to automate. Those who belong to groups and need to have meetings, I've had privilege to teach them on how they can hold meetings even on WhatsApp, and also using alternative ways of making payments in mobile money, etc. To close my speech, I would like to pose a challenge to fellow women. Let's ask ourselves, what quality of work are we bringing to the table when we get these opportunities? What quality are we bringing to the table? That's my challenge. So the opportunities are coming. Most of us in IITA, we are being given the opportunity. So let's bring quality. Let's bring quality to the table. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tamara, for your inspiring words. Would like to go back to Diana. Hopefully she'll be able to connect. Diana, can you hear us?
Yes,
Diana?
I can hear you. Maybe I try without the video. I think it's connected.
Okay,
can you
great.
hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Please go on. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so I will give, I will be brief about my pathway to leadership. So as I earlier explained about my opportunities. So my key opportunities in my leadership at IITA has been around the existing policies at the institution. We are very grateful. Of course, we work in non-segregative environment with our male colleagues, and we are not segregated in the tasks that we do. Suggestions are always welcome, and we work together with our male colleagues. My other opportunity has been, of course, inspirations around my workplace. The difference that came later, the enthusiasm has been very encouraging to me. To mention but a few, for example, I looked up to Jasoni Lawrence, who left earlier. She was my boss. I also look up to Dr. Regina Kapinga, who was in Uganda previously. She is very energetic, encouraging, and she always inspired me to keep doing my best and work and ensure that our different objectives. Former supervisor Sarah Majota, she was energetic and never looked down at the ladies on the team. So I can also mention that COVID-19 came in at a point where I was opportunities around us, the enabling environment. I was able to lead the team, and we just active.
Hello, Diana?
Pandemic.
Hello, Diana?
Hello.
Unfortunately,
Hello.
yes,
Yes,
we can't
hello.
hear you. Diana? All right. So we'll move. Unfortunately, we can't hear all that Diana has to say because of internet issues. So we'll move to Mr. Peter Kolako. He's the head of cassava breeding in Ibadan, Nigeria, from West Africa Hub. Dr. Kolako?
Yeah, thank you. Greetings, everyone. I miss you all in Nigeria, and I'm looking forward to getting back there probably in April. I've been in California taking care of my elderly parents during this COVID-19 situation. But thank you very much for the honor of speaking on the occasion of International Women's Day, as we speak about women in leadership and achieving an equal future in a COVID-19 world. The global pandemic has shown, again, the multiple responsibilities and burdens that women face in the workplace and caring for families, compounded by additional complexities of a public health crisis and an economic crisis. In a time when the world cries out for leadership, women have provided many examples of responsible leadership based on using the best available information and safeguarding the needs of workers, families, and children. Now, back home in the IITA cassava breeding, we have taken on the challenge of becoming gender responsive researchers and building a team that can provide the scientific knowledge to develop improved cassava varieties that are demanded by consumers and deliver equitable benefits of improved nutrition and improved economic well-being to all people. To do this, we need to attract the best available talent, and we need to train ourselves in new scientific methods and tools. In cassava breeding, we have many women who have assumed key leadership roles in our team, and I'm grateful to be able to celebrate our fantastic team of women leaders. Elizabeth Parks is the Harvest Plus cassava breeder, leading development of biofortified cassava. And she also plays an essential role in motivating excellence and personal development in the cassava team. All of you who know Elizabeth know exactly what I'm talking about. And as the DG has already pointed out, Mercy Diaberu Ojo is head of vegetatively propagated crops for IITA Go Seed. And she is leading development of the cassava seed business in Nigeria and across Africa within the formal legal system for producing seed. This has never been done before in Africa. As you know, Mercy has led the IITA Go Seed response to keep active just as COVID-19 was shutting down the Nigeria economy. Anna Van Doorn is leading use of advanced unpersoned aerial vehicles and the use of precise global positioning technology to gather crop information on a scale we have never achieved before. Anna's position is one of the most technologically demanding positions in the cassava breeding unit. Gabby Mabanjo is developing our collaborations with national partners and organizing our product development pipelines in a more professional manner than we have done before to deliver products from design to consumers faster and of higher quality than before. And Morag Ferguson has led cassava molecular breeding in the Becca Hub in Nairobi, and she has trained numerous women and men PhD students who are now the foundation of plant breeding capacity in Africa. And finally, Bela Tikan, our cassava gender scientist, has assembled a powerful gender research team to make our program more inclusive and responsive to the needs of women and men in their unique cultural and economic circumstances. We have a powerful team, but we need to do better to support our team, to increase the security of leadership positions held by women, and to ensure women and men thrive at all levels of our organization. IITA has made tremendous strides to support work-life balance, to achieve fair processes in employment decisions, and to promote a safe workspace. I appreciate IITA leadership in working to enhance gender diversity and inclusion. I'm sure there is much more that we can do, however, to support women in leadership, including enhancing policies on childcare and family leave, increased mentoring programs, and to further improve power relationships to support women in leadership. So as we make progress, I look forward to the day when we can truly reap the benefits of a fully inclusive leadership that includes women and men. And congratulations on International Women's Day. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kolako. Not only is he a champion of women, but today also is a special day because it's his birthday. So I would just like you to just clap for Dr. Kolako so that we can tell him happy birthday since he can't sing. Thank you. Our next speaker is Rose Ndango. I hope I'm pronouncing your names right. Otherwise, my apologies. An analytical lab manager. She's in Yaoundé, Cameroon, and she's from the Central Africa Hub.
Hello, everybody, and happy Women's Day to all the ladies on the forum. Happy festivities to all. I just want to start by thanking IITA management for this opportunity to speak during this event. I've been working here at IITA for a good number of years now. I came on board as a senior analyst. I worked my way through as the lab manager, and today I've been running the lab. Now, all of this has happened thanks to my humble background with my parents, who were very supportive, very pushful. They insisted that all children excel in school, be it in the sciences, and me in particular, they made sure, I had all the tools I needed, and that's how I went into the best institutions and ended up having a full scholarship to study chemistry at the age of 19 in the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, given that background already to always strive to succeed, I was able to graduate with a master's degree in chemistry, and then came back to apply to the job here at IITA Cameroon, and I missed several competitors. I got the job and started off my journey. Now at IITA, yes, I've had a lot of support from the day I was recruited. I was blessed to have a postdoc who was a hands-on chemist who taught me from holding the screwdriver and to opening up machines in the lab. He gave me that boldness, that courage, and that has helped, that has propelled me. And today I'm able to have the courage to do things like that. Now, yes, it is true, in IIT, I've had opportunities to be who I have become today. I've had training opportunities, several, but just I would cite a few. The talent grant, for example, that is organized every year and that which we all apply. I won it back in 2016, and I was privileged to attend a training in the United States of America with Buck Scientific. And this is a huge company that manufactures atomic absorption spectrophotometers, which is like a core instrumentation in the lab. And so I was in that factory, working with the technicians, with the engineers, putting the machines apart, putting it together, all in front of me. And for me, it was the most amazing thing. I was able to sit with the CEO of the company, establish that link with him. And ever since I came back to Cameroon, I've maintained that linkage, because today I can exploit it. I can request for discounts from the company. I can tap into their network and request for assistance from the technical crew each time I have a problem in the lab. Yes, here back at IITA in Cameroon, I've had a lot of support from the researchers, from our hub director, for example, who has not stopped supporting me. They are like, Rose, you're doing a good job. And each time they mention that doing a good job, it's like, it spurs me on, it motivates me to bring out the best in me. It motivates me to realize that it's a challenge for me to keep the lab running as a woman with an all-male team. But in my passion to succeed in everything I do, and with the grace of God, we have come this far. Yes, we have created strong network, strong linkages with our stakeholders, suppliers, technicians, because these are areas in which sometimes I'm lacking. I have this network of suppliers with whom I relate on a one-to-one basis, and they're able to assist me, remotely access equipment for me to fix the machines. Sometimes I run out to my counterpart in Ibadan, Mr. Uponi Joseph, who would give me assistance on how to fix things. And so we've been able to keep it going as a team, because it's not just me, it's me, but with an all-male team. And that male team I'm leading, and they're behind, and I'm mindful the way I lead, I'm mindful the way I train them, I'm mindful the way I impact on them, knowing that, they know that they look at me as a woman, for sure. But then again, they know that together as a team, we make it. So I want to emphasize on the point that, yes, women, we can be leaders, but without those men supporting us, it can be very challenging as well. And I'm glad I've been able to have that support, especially from the males around me. And I want to say a big thank you to all of you. Yes, during the pandemic, we've had other opportunities, to network with other global initiatives, such as the Global Soil Analytical Laboratories, and then which is based at the FAO. And with this, we have been able to increase visibility for our lab. And at this point, we're actually working with Excellence in Agronomy, which is led by our Central African Hub Director, Bernard Van Lauwe, and we're trying to position our lab for the years to come. Yes, there's been challenges. I've had challenges. Most of my years in IITA, I've worked with very little supervision, very little. I've not had a soil. I've had two soil chemists during my career, and I need that support. Somebody to support with the science. We haven't really had that. I haven't had that, and so sometimes technical issues get in the way. But thank God for tools like Google that are in place. Thank God for an open world. I'm able to look up things, and with assistance from others, I'm able to put it together. It's also a challenge running a full cost recovery laboratory, not being able to predict the sample flow, not being able to know the number of samples that will come in during a year. And so that makes it challenging. It is also a challenge trying to juggle with equipment, repairing this one equipment, breakdown times, maintaining continuity. But in all of that, I've also had the baggage of raising 2 teenage kids all on my own, juggling with the lab, with family. It has not been easy, but that focus, that determination, that steadfastness has brought me this far. Now, yes, it is true we're going through the pandemic, but what has the pandemic taught me? It has taught me to have more empathy towards others. We're living in a difficult world, be amongst the males, the females. It's difficult, but I've tried to become more empathic towards others. I've become more focused, innovative, proactive, and flexible. Yes, and multitasking as required. Now, how do I try to shape out an equal future for others? By being a model, a role model, and a mentor to others, especially the younger women. I wouldn't end my speech without thanking IITA for being that institution that promotes women, that enables women to be the best they can be. We are a model to other centers, and I'm proud of the IITA. And I'm also blessed to have been honored in IITA by several awards, including the Best Support Staff Award. Thank you, IITA.
Thank you very much, Rose. We'll move to Beatrice Bachwenkizi. She's a research associate in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, from Eastern African Hub. Over to you, Beatrice.
Okay, my pathway to leadership started in 2005. I was working with local government authority as village community development officer. I was responsible for sensitizing and mobilizing women and the youth to form income generation activity groups. With this role, I had the opportunity to work with a large number of women. I was happy to see them taking initiative in different activities so as to increase their income. Some of them were involved in palm oil processing, some in fish processing, and some in vegetable production. However, being based and working at village level, I had limited opportunity of being mentored and grow career-wise. So with this situation, I decided to look for another job. and I managed to secure a job at IITA. So in 2010, I joined IITA as a research associate. I was working with CFC project under the supervision of Dr. Abbas. I was involved in the development of cassava value chain, and I was responsible for scaling out technologies for production, processing, and quality management. I was also responsible for developing business model, especially the economics of cassava processing. Also, with this law, I had the opportunity to interact with a number of women. Some of them were involved in small-scale cassava production. Some of them were involved in cassava processing activities. I was supporting them in terms of technical assistance, and I was happy to see some of the women, they advanced from small-scale processing to medium-scale processing. My challenge was being moved from local government, the village level, to international organization. That was a bit challenging to me. But I thank Dr. Abbas. He really helped me. He mentored me and coached me to get where I am today. He also encouraged us to go for further studies. We were 3 women working together with him. 2 of us managed to go for further studies. So in 2014, I started my PhD studies at Sokoine University of Agriculture with the IITA scholarship and the Study C project. But soon after joining, I got family problem, which caused me to take full responsibilities of taking care of my family. I played both roles as a father and mother to my 2 children. Also, the situation, of course, shook me and somehow affected my studies, but later I was able to stabilize and continue well with my studies. I also faced another challenge was on my PhD scholarship. The scholarship ended before completion of my studies. But I thank IITA and the supervision of Dr. Abbas. They managed to provide financial assistance to me, and I was able to complete my studies. I completed last year in December 2020. So I'm now providing support to Tati Cassava Compact. And as an agriculture economist, we are trying to understand processing practice of various processing centers and try to figure out their technical and economic efficiency so as to improve their profitability. I'm also working closely with Dr. Regina Kapinga. I'm assisting her in convening the 3rd country engagement coordination efforts in Tanzania. I'm learning a lot from her, and actually she is my role model. She has provided me with the opportunity to interact with people at different levels, and I hope she'll take me to the next level. Yeah, with respect to COVID-19 pandemic, the pandemic slowed down our activities. We were planning for the planting season, but we didn't do that. And of course, IITA also implemented some restriction, which also affected our work. But we still had to meet the plan of the year. So we get work going through the extension officers. But at the same time, I still had to focus to my children education as they are taking online courses, and also they are attending holiday package. Yeah, my contribution to eco-future, to shaping the eco-future, I will continue providing support to women, especially in technical assistance, but I will also encourage them to involve more in cassava value chain. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Beatrice. And now we'll hear from Gersonia Katine, Station Administrator in Nampula, Mozambique, from Southern African Hub.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Women's Day for all the women, and thank you for this opportunity. I'll start saying that the pandemic continues to place extraordinary demands on leaders, and leaders need to continue developing their professional capabilities to bring new perspectives, new thinking, new ideas on this uncertain world. And on 15 years of experience, I couldn't find a leadership style as model. But myself, I try to be flexible, adaptable, to meet the needs of my team, and also consider the circumstances and the changes on the business environment as well, which is important. So saying that in the past, the challenge, the pandemic, we normally work together as a team, we socialize it, and we have more interaction, and dialogue for us was essential. And normally we also discuss issues on spot, and the time response was good. So with the pandemic, everything has changed. Working remotely no longer allows us for physical engagement with individual team members, which also affects the quality of work and also delays on the accomplishment of tasks. So secondly, saying that working from home also requires a good environment, but most of us, especially in Mozambique, I don't know, but other countries also, we don't have the necessary conditions to work for home, which also delays the job accomplishment. And sometimes we also have other activities on personal data, staff personal data. We also have processes that require signatures, and those are more delicate. And it has to be done in the office. So it's always delaying delaying the work and require more time to do. And the third thing is that they need also to inspire and motivate the members of my team also has been affected, because the physical presence and the socializations as well together helps to develop the relationship, and this also improves the performance in the work. But not all looking for challenges. There's a other brighter side of the pandemic, and I would like to say that the pandemic also brought innovations in work, and some staff have invested, like having good internet, having new equipment, improving also with trainings, computer applications, which before was difficult to work. So this is the challenge, but also some innovations that brought by the pandemic. So I would like to say that it's not easier, but we can take over. We can continue as together as one. And myself, I would like to thank very much for my boss, Dr. Steve Wahen. He's giving me support all these years to help me to be the person I am today. Also, Evelyn Odhiambo now in Tanzania, she was also a good hand to help me to be very strong and a good and better leader every day. So I'll challenge the other women in leadership that they shouldn't stop to help the others in continued investigation, and also be open to the team members to make them understand the changes of the world and giving them support even at home, but to help them to be good and better. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're moving to Fanta Traore. She's the Business Development Officer in Bamako, Mali, and the Sahel Hub. She will be making a presentation in French, and I will shortly follow up with a translation. Fanta?
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour. C'est à vous.
Oui, merci bien. Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis très heureux de faire cette présentation par rapport à cette journée de 8 mars, Journée internationale de la femme. Et le thème porte cette année les femmes au poste de direction parvenir à un avenir égal dans un monde Covid. Oui, donc, oui, on peut continuer. D'accord. Pour aller à ce thème, j'ai d'abord donné une petite définition au leadership. Le leadership, c'est quoi d'abord? C'est d'amener la personne à mieux gérer les blocages personnels, à définir sa place dans la société et à jouer un rôle professionnel et familial. En un mot, c'est de créer une vision. Donc, je dirais, c'est le processus aussi d'influence portée sur les autres personnes et à son entourage. Travailler avec enthousiasme dans le même sens. Oui, on peut aller. Aussi, dans ces talents, comme opportunités et défis, nous avons constaté aussi qu'il y a beaucoup de revendications féministes, ce qui est vraiment important pour les femmes. On constate aussi que de plus en plus de femmes sont nombreuses à diriger et dans les villes et en milieu rural. Aussi, les femmes rurales avec lesquelles nous travaillons, nous avons constaté aussi que ces femmes mettent en place et dirigent des entreprises et des groupements féminins. Et souvent même des groupements mixtes. Comme opportunité aussi, il y a le développement de l'entrepreneuriat féminin. Il ne faut pas oublier parce que pour que la femme soit épanouie là où elle vit, il faut vraiment développer l'entrepreneuriat féminin. Ce développement d'entrepreneuriat féminin ne peut pas aller sans le renforcement de compétences et la mise en place d'outils professionnels adaptés, aussi sans oublier les technologies innovantes, puis les ressources, il faut mettre les ressources à la disposition des femmes, créer des facilités et des mentorats, les tuteurs, assurer une animation au sein de la communauté. Comme défi, vous savez, tout le monde sait qu'en Afrique, il y a des préjugés, les pratiques traditionnelles culturelles qui sont souvent, tout n'est pas négatif, mais dans la plupart des cas, c'est négatif. Et aussi, il y a l'éducation des femmes. Sans oublier le degré de pauvreté dans les milieux, nous avons vraiment constaté qu'il y a vraiment la pauvreté et cette pauvreté est surtout importante au niveau des femmes. Aussi, il y a le facteur temps, parce que la femme, elle est appelée à jouer plusieurs rôles. Il y a le rôle couple, le rôle femme travail et le rôle femme ménagère. Donc, il faut jongler ces rôles pour pouvoir amener la femme à jouer pleinement son rôle. Et il y a le statut subalterne de la femme. Dans notre société, la femme est toujours considérée comme moins compétente comparativement aux hommes. Donc, la femme est toujours mise de côté inférieur. Il y a le niveau d'éducation, la pauvreté, comme je dis bien, qui constitue vraiment des mots à l'atteinte du leadership féminin. Pendant la période Covid, nous avons constaté aussi qu'il y a eu un peu des difficultés d'accès à la matière première souvent. Bon, à cause des prix ont souvent grimpé et puis l'écoulement des produits aussi, puisque les frontières étaient un peu fermées, donc il était un peu difficile d'écouler les produits. Un peu en arrière, comme ma contribution, influence des défis sur le leadership. Il y a eu le facteur temps. Il faut signaler le facteur temps, car les femmes ont besoin d'un suivi rapproché. Elles ont aussi besoin d'un renforcement de compétences, de soutien, et puis faire une étude diagnostique pour mieux identifier, analyser réellement les besoins des femmes. On peut continuer. Bon, ma contribution, c'est d'amener les femmes à s'approprier de leur pouvoir féminin. Ça ne peut pas aller sans les formations, comme je l'ai signalé, à amener la femme au travail la femme à la maison. Que les femmes ne portent plus le masque de comparaison entre les hommes et les femmes, car les forces ne sont pas les mêmes, mais plutôt complémentaires. Il y a un adage qui dit « l'homme et la femme constituent les ailes d'un même oiseau ». Donc, en s'unissant et en s'alliant, les femmes peuvent créer de nouvelles structures. Bon, ça c'est quelques photos des femmes lors des formations, parce que nous avons eu à faire des formations en entrepreneuriat pour les femmes pour qu'elles puissent élaborer les plans d'affaires. Et puis, il y a eu des formations dans le cadre de la transformation, puisqu'elles cultivent du soja. Donc, nous avons les amenés à faire la formation sur la transformation du soja en plusieurs produits. Donc, ces photos illustrent ces différentes formations. Oui. Ça, ce fut un plaisir vraiment de présenter cette partie au nom du Mali. Merci pour votre attention.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Traoré, for votre intervention. Just a quick recap of the key points that she's mentioned in her work and how she's encountered opportunities and women's challenges. So, the idea of women leadership is to create the potential in women to manage their affairs more successfully and to create a vision for themselves. And there's also been an increasing participation of women in leadership roles, including in the rural areas where they create their own associations and groups. Some of the opportunities that they've mentioned is that now there is more entrepreneurship more women in the entrepreneurship sphere, and also skills enhancement and more gender responsive technologies and solutions that that women benefit from. However, for challenges, we obviously can note social, cultural, and traditional barriers, and the lack of education for women. Also, women play multiple roles, which makes several activities competing for their time. Women also in the COVID era has faced price increases and rises for the agricultural products or the primary product that they use for their activities, the economic activities. And so this has led to a few challenges that women has faced in this particular era of COVID. Now, it is important to note that women's needs are very different, and we have to take a greater and a deeper analysis to understand women's conditions and needs. And she closes by saying that the influence that we can have on women is to enhance their capacity in education and to also make them understand that their roles are very different and we are complementary as men and women. As the African proverb will say, men and women are wings on the same bird. So this is in a nutshell what Mrs. Traoré said. We'll move to Omotayo Ayo Afolabi. She is an assistant finance manager in Ibadan, Nigeria, headquarters. Omotayo?
Hello. Good morning. I've just shared my screen, and I want to start with the words of the UN Women. They said that the pandemic is deepening pre-existing inequalities, is exposing vulnerabilities in the society, in the political arena, and in our economic systems. And this is in turn amplifying the impacts of the pandemic. And you all agree with me that the pandemic has affected more the women folk. We've had our challenges as women during this pandemic. And one of the challenges I've been confronted with is adjusting to the new normal. COVID-19 pandemic has fundamentally shifted the way people work. It has shifted the way we interact. Our lives have not remained the same. We are confronted with fears of what our children are exposed to on a daily basis as we send them to school, even in the midst of this pandemic. Another challenge that we have also been confronted with, and I as a person, as a woman, is the challenge of how we'll be able to stay safe. Despite the level of awareness at the workplace, we still have colleagues that will not take to safety precautions. So you find it difficult to actually stay safe. Our culture and our sense of fashion has also affected us. You know, despite the unprecedented challenges we are confronted with by COVID-19, some women can still come to the terms with the use of face masks just because of our makeups. Even though we have our challenges, we are not without our opportunities. One of the opportunities that I've been able to explore is remote working. I've discovered that I can accomplish most tasks remotely without significant drop in productivity or quality. The pandemic has opened my eyes to the fact that I don't have to postpone any targeted objectives until I'm physically present in the office. So I could be anywhere and I will achieve my target. Also, one of the opportunities that I've been able to explore during this pandemic is self-awareness. In the face of COVID-19, delivery of our TOR have become more paramount, and it has become of great priority to us as individuals. We don't have to wait for any delegation. I must take the lead to satisfy both internal and external customers. COVID-19 has even taught our managers the importance of flexibility, and they have trusted more in us. As a woman, I have the opportunity and the ability to switch between activities. Even in the face of this pandemic, I can do several things at a time, and I will be able to achieve all because I've learned to master various skills as a woman. And this will be done without exposing myself to the risk associated with COVID-19. Now, what will be my contribution to shaping a more equal future? I want to drive the awareness of COVID-19 and its negative impact among women and colleagues. More awareness will also need to be created to correct the age-long misconception that we cannot take equal responsibilities. I tell you, any woman can take equal responsibility with any man. And our men also need to come to terms with the fact that the rights of women is not a threat to them. Collectively, everyone, everywhere, can strive for women's equal opportunity. And we can continue to make positive gains. I want to conclude by telling us women, that it's not enough for us to say that I want to lead if my actions and behavior don't demonstrate I'm a leader. We must be ready to take the lead. We must be ready to take up challenges. If your actions and demonstration does not show that you're a leader, even if your job title says so, and it's not shown in your action, then we cannot say you are ready to lead. So I encourage us, let us take the lead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Omotayo, for these strong words on which you ended. We'll now hear from Dr. Tahiru Abdullahi, and he is the director of the Sahel Hub based in Bamako, Mali. Dr. Tahiru. Dr. Abdullahi, we cannot hear you in case you are muted. Oh, it's all right, sorry, it's actually a recording, so we'll listen to Dr. Abdullahi's message, the recording. So while we wait for the recordings,
membership.
Right.
Tahiru Abdullahi, agricultural economist and director of the Sahel Hub. So in terms of opportunities for women, Tahiru Abdullahi, agricultural economist and director of the Sahel Hub. So in terms of opportunities for women in accessing leadership, most of our work in social sciences, we pay great attention to ensuring parity in terms of membership, be it in innovation platforms or in leadership position in terms of in communities where we work. We always tell people that we need to have both men and women involved, and we try to achieve parity when possible. Also, in terms of choices of farmers who attend or who conduct our demonstrations or attend our trainings, we ensure that we build capacity of both men and women farmers. In terms of barriers, especially given this pandemic now that makes people work from home, it's a little bit more challenging for our female professionals who work from home, and then while they're home, so people tend to have confused with their presence. We try to let people find what is the best balance for them, and it's not the same for everybody. It can be different for men and women, for young versus old, but in our institute we try to give most people more time to choose what best fit their condition, and this is how we try to advance the case and the cause of both men and women. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullahi, for your message. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear much, but thank you for addressing us on this special day. I would just like to, this marks the conclusions of the interventions and the messages and presentations of our speakers. We'll move to the next session, but before that, some key elements that we can take home is that women empowerment starts from home. And IITA is an enabling and supportive environment for women to thrive and also grow and be challenged. Women also are very keen on pursuing education and furthering education and continuing their learning. And we also have people we look up to, and we have mentors within our institutions that help us as women to continue to grow. So one important aspect is that we are also passionate, and we have that willingness to make a difference here at IITA. And as the DG has pointed, the quality of our work is excellent, despite the challenges that COVID has presented, unique challenges for women professionally and also for their responsibilities at home. We will now have a video presentation of IITA School, and these are talking heads interviews. So we will hear from the communication unit. Yeah.
My name is Faith, and I'm in
So while we wait for the videos from the children in IT school, I would just like to take some comments from the floor, please. We would like to hear your concerns, your contributions and questions. Any question? Yes? No? Or also we can have comments from the people joining us online. Any comments? Any questions? Are you reading? Also. Okay.
Hello?
Yes, please.
Yeah, good morning all. My name is Basi Achibong. I'm calling in from Yola, Nigeria, Northeast. And we work with a group of women who are constantly challenging the system to ensure that they put food on the table for their families, ranging from insurgency to COVID, to cultural norms, to religious norms. And so I want to applaud the ITA as an organization for ensuring that the integrated agricultural activity is able to continue to ensure that women in the Northeast achieve economic recovery. The basic thing that are challenging is just the ability for them to meet the needs, the basic needs of their families. And so all the supports that we require is for the institution to continue to push to the limits some of the issues that are addressed and challenge cultural norms and systems which will open up women that we have as micro entrepreneurs, women who are leaders of their cooperatives to be able to do more. Thank you very much. And I wish all the women happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bassi. Any other interventions, contribution would like to make? I will actually begin to call a few people out because I know there's a lot that this room can say. So I'll start with Dr. Parks. We'd like to hear from you. What are some of the challenges and opportunities you've seen in your role? And where's the wisdom for us?
Thank you. Moderator, you have done a great job this morning. I must say that sitting in here, I think we can, if we declare the whole month as a month for women, then we could also visit the various projects. Because like the SAH lab, for example, you go there, you record the work being done, and you see a number of women and men actually working, but then the women are really making great impact there. Not only that, you go to our labs, and the same like Titi also said in Aflasafe. So if we could cover those videos and then showcase it to motivate the women out there. I think IITA has done well, giving us room for women to kind of operate with the present gender diversity and inclusion there is move there for we all to, come up. And like Didi said, the impact you make with the very little space given will push us higher. So I want to encourage all women and the great young men who are around to say that let's keep moving. We have been given space, but let's do good with the space given to us, and then it will go forward. Yeah, thank you so much, and I think we've had a good morning. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Parks, for this intervention. Now, I would like a man to say something, a few words on this floor. Any volunteering? Otherwise, I would actually volunteer you. Dr. Diang, would love to hear from you.
Thanks a lot for giving the opportunity to share some of my truth on this. First of all, congratulations for this amazing and interesting event that we are hearing from you guys, or the challenges and the opportunities of gender issues in here IITA. But globally, I think this is what you have learned so far. This is a day we should be a bit like hungry. It's not a day of celebration in the sense that it's not a joyful day, because what you have so far is not what you want to achieve. So we want to have equality between men and women, and we have not yet at that level. Nevertheless, a lot of things have been achieved so far from our elders, but we have to continue fighting and then making happening that we should have equality in our space. So from my fields, coming from the mathematics fields and statistics, we are not yet at the level. We have more men than women, unfortunately. But this is something we need all in our level, in our capacity to encourage and then to make things happening and joining our efforts to achieve the equality. So yes, we should continue fighting to achieve that one. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yang. And I would like one last comment from the lady over there in white shirt, purple skirt. Yes, if it's just a few words that you can share. Are we ready for the video? Yes. Just a few words.
Good morning, Madam. Actually, I'm an intern here at IIT, and I'm glad I'm in this environment. I really want to say a big thank you to my supervisor and my lab manager. They've been helpful. They've actually helped me, and I can say that's an example of raising up women. They've actually given us full support. They took us, because I'm not the only one, they took us as their very own, and they gave us the opportunity to exhibit our trip. They gave us because she did tell me, anytime she give me anything to do, she did tell me to explore myself, even though there may be mistakes, but she gave me the background and the environment to explore myself. So I just want to use this opportunity to say thank you, and I'm very grateful.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for all the IIT supervisors that are encouraging our women and young interns. Unfortunately, we will not be able to play the video at the moment. And so we will move to the next section of our program, which is the vote of thanks. And for that, I would like to welcome Ms. Okelade to give our vote of thanks. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. First, I want to thank everyone who has been part of this program, taking your time to connect online, and then for those who are here in person to make us have a feel of today's event. It would have been more elaborate if not for COVID-19. Our special thanks go to our Director General, Dr. Sanginga, always inspiring us. He's a champion of advancing the cause of women, and we appreciate his address this morning. I'm sure we were all inspired by that. We also want to thank the DDG Corporate Services, Hilda Cooper. She's always there with us, and she's a good role model of a woman leader. she also always inspires. We thank all our speakers. Some of them had to accept, at the last minute, and then they still went ahead to develop their presentation and to show up for this program. So from where you are, everywhere, and this time is so beautiful. We have representation from across the hubs, including the new hub, the Sahel hub. So we want to thank all our speakers for accepting to tell their stories and for inspiring all of us. We also want to thank the IITA Women's Group. We know some of their members have connected and are following this program, so thank you for being part of it. We thank all members of the planning committee, everyone who has worked in the background. Would have loved to show their faces so that we see them. Some of them are here with us. We appreciate everyone who has been part of this. And we also want to thank our collaborators, visible and invisible. We thank the IT unit team. We thank the communication team. Some of them are here. We thank the conference center staff team. We thank hostras. They are here to even support us in a way. We can see the sign. And we are grateful to everyone. We look forward to another year. We have been challenged to set small targets and build on the targets. And then we hope that next year when we come, we'll be telling a better story of advancing the cause of women in IITA. Before I leave, we want to urge you to please endeavor to connect at 1:30 p.m. today to the CGIAR panel, GDI panel pledge launch. It's a great opportunity for us to know what we mean by panel pledge. It's something that has been put together to advance the representation of women and to ensure that diverse voices are heard. So please come and learn how to be part of this. And among the speakers, we have the MD, Institutional Strategy and Systems of the 1CGIR. I'm sure we want to hear him speak. And also the Senior Advisor of Gender Diversity and Inclusion in the 1CG. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for contributing, and thank you for being part of it. We're grateful.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Lade. So we've reached the end of our program. Again, I want to thank you all, those ones that are here present, for participating. And we've also had over 100 participants online. We want to thank all our colleagues that have tuned in across our different stations and for the inspiring messages. And so I would say, Happy Women's Day to all of us. My name is Zaina Sore, and I was really honored to moderate or facilitate this session. So see you next year with more stories to tell, and again, more achievements for IITA. Have a great day.
Good morning. My name is Faith and I'm in grade 7. To celebrate this year's International Women's Day, we have decided to interview successful women like you so that we can learn from your story. Please tell us a little bit about what you do.
I work for a nonprofit organization where I am the vice president and help with somewhat like a principal. I'm responsible for the administration. And I also work with other organizations and help them with Vermont agriculture and with promoting education for sustainability.
I'm a seed system specialist here at IITA for cassava and yams. So I work basically on cassava and yams.
What challenges did you face to get to where you are today?
The challenges are probably recognizing where it's best to work, okay? But the challenges that I have faced are challenges of men and women, okay, not being very cooperative, all right? And quite a number of times you would come across people who are not as polite as they should be, okay? People who don't want to work hard, you know, people who don't want to work hard, that's a challenge, you know, when you are leading something. If you have a person who doesn't want to work hard, then it's a little bit difficult to work with that person. And also, of course, you have, I've had some times where people probably they had not liked the fact that I'm a woman and I happen to be leading them and they have to report to me. Okay, so I've had that situation. I also had the situation where people not from Nigeria having to report to me, you know, and they were also not very happy about that because they were expatriates. And so they were thinking that why should we report to a Black woman?
My greatest challenge was basically learning to value myself when they devalued me, learning to love myself and learning to believe in myself. I think that's been my greatest challenge.
Around the world, there are rules that an African woman has to obey. There are 3 rules. 1, listen and do not speak. Always say yes, don't say no. And people don't really expect you to be successful. So those are the challenges I have faced as a young African scientist, to sit in a world where it is designed for men and to question things, to ask for things to be different, to ask for the world to start to work for the African woman and her needs, the needs for her children, especially in nutrition.
Some of the challenges that I faced was I was really, I was not one of the popular kids, because I always tried to do what's right and I always tried to study a lot. And so some of the kids teased me and called me teacher's pet and bullied me actually, but I still didn't let it keep me from being the best that I could be.
Well, given my background growing up in a big family of mostly women and my background of being educated in an exclusive girls' school from kindergarten to middle school, run by nuns, I interacted with mostly girls and women. So when I landed a job in a male-dominated organization, I found it difficult and challenging to interact with men. It took a while to adjust, but eventually I was able to adjust and became comfortable working with them.
Were you ever laughed at?
Well, I think sometimes people have stereotypes about things and maybe don't take things seriously. So I used to do lots of sports. I used to throw the discus and I used to play rugby. And both of those things are very kind of much associated with boys. And so when I was at university, I was our athletics, our track and field captain. But yeah, I think sometimes people don't take it seriously, particularly women's sport. They don't see it as seriously as they do like the male footballers or the male rugby players or the male athletes. I think is taken a lot more seriously. So that's probably where I've seen quite a lot of a different attitude, and maybe people didn't take those ambitions very seriously.
You know, the interesting thing was that when we were young, we really, we were not asked about our dreams, as it were. One thing that happened to me as a child was that, honestly, I was good in school. So I was able to do whatever it is that I wanted, okay? And so I never thought that anything that I would be a challenge, okay? But what did happen quite early on, you know, not so much as being laughed at, but again, as times when I grew up in. The truth was that my dream was that I wanted to be a geologist. That was who I wanted to be when I was, when I wanted to go to university. But for whatever reason, because himself worked in an oil company, okay? He was so anti me being a geologist, He said things like, which was surprising because he was actually quite progressive for his time, but he just didn't want geologist because I think probably he had seen the life of geologists close up because he worked in an oil company. And so at that point, I then decided to do something else. But we were not laughed at. Actually, we were encouraged to do whatever it is that we wanted to do and to be whatever it is that we wanted. And so however, when I was much younger, the of things that are available for people, for children your age, they were not available then. So there were only certain things that it seemed as if women would go into. There were not very many options, as it were. But no, well, for me, I didn't get anybody laughing at. Was encouraged. Was doing.
Always had something that I didn't want to stay in my country, and people did not understand that. So I wasn't laughed at, but it was just not understood that I wanted to travel, I wanted to see the world, because I come from a small village where people didn't really do that. So not really laughed at, but not understood.
Laughed at, no, but I was doubted many times. But what I learned was that it's very important that I believe in myself and I'm persistent, because everybody has their own unique paths, and that's a path that only you can understand. But it's also a friend of mine taught me that I'm never alone. There are always others who are sharing the same interests and same dreams, and finding these people can actually have a huge impact on strengthening your beliefs and ambitions.
Were you treated unfairly because of your gender?
Yes, women have always, at least in the US, not been paid the same as men doing the same job. So yes, there is some unfairness. Even now, people who come into court will treat female judges a little bit differently than they do male judges. And so all I can say is I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to be the best. Don't be bound by the fact that you're in Africa, because many people would say, but you're in the United States, so you have all that opportunity. The thing is that you need to be the best that you can be where you are. And then if you decide to move or come to another place, all of that you learn, all that you do will follow you.
I had an experience where I was once declined a job because the organization wanted a man for the position. It so happened that the top choice declined the offer, so they came back to me to offer the job. And I took it. I took it and proved to them that I can do the job better. They were happy with my performance and never regretted that they offered the job to me.
No, I would say no. But rather, I've been given a great encouragement. Yes. Instead, what they do is that they encourage me. You understand? So I've been encouraged to always do my best. And if I do my best, that I can achieve my goals. So I would say no, I have not been by any gender.
My bosses were always people that never looked at that. So I wasn't really treated unfairly. Sometimes there are small things. For example, if you are a woman in a meeting and you're the only one, it's often still expected you are the one that takes the minutes of the meeting, which I find I smile a little bit about, because, they come to me because I'm a woman, not because I'm the one that maybe takes good minutes or not. So there are little things, but they are not really, you cannot really point them out.
Yeah. What plans do you have to help other females succeed?
Well, I advise women and girls to be brave and strong and confident and dream big. Don't think of success as just earning a lot of money, getting paid high salary, or getting credited and rewarded for what you do. Think of success as being passionate and happy with what you do, whether you are recognized or not. After all, you define your own happiness and success and not other people.
The plans I have for females, especially the young ones who are just coming up to succeed, for them to first know what you want to do. And once you are convinced of what you want to do, what you want to become, the career you want to follow, then you will be interested in it, you'll be dedicated to it, you'll be committed to it. So I will tell ladies, be committed to your jobs, be dedicated to your job, be honest, and then you earn the integrity, and that puts you on plateau of God.
It's all about believing in yourself and thinking about all the possibilities that you have. So I think when I was 17, 18, I didn't realize how many possibilities I had, and I didn't know what my options were, or I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I felt like a lot of my friends had a really clear plan of what they wanted to do. But I think if I could go back now, I'd say to myself, don't worry so much. You have so many possibilities. And the key thing is that you have those skills that you develop, so you can think for yourself, and you can be a communicator, and all of those things in the learner profile that we talk about, you know, being a thinker and being a communicator, and that will set you up then. So the key thing is to develop those skills, and then just to believe in yourselves, and you can do anything that you want to do.
I believe in empowerment, Aramide, especially in the kind of world we're living in today. If women cannot empower fellow women and let them know that, you know, the road to success might be rocky, might be rough, but that they can succeed, support them, mentor them, talk to them, encourage them, let them know, you know, that their own self-worth lies in themselves and not in anybody else. I keep on going back to mindset, okay? It's about, because your mind is a very, very, very powerful tool. Your mind will tell you whether or not you're going to be a success or a failure, you know? Yeah. And you need to listen to yourself, and you need to have a positive mindset. So my role as a female leader in education is, I pay attention to everybody, male and female, but I must admit, I pay extra special attention to the women, and I support them, I encourage them, I mentor them, I talk to them, and I assure them that, you know what, if they want to achieve, or rather whatever they want to achieve, they can achieve. But it takes hard work. It takes dedication. It takes focus.
So in IITA, we don't have enough women. You know, we are supposed to have 40% of the staff should be women, but only like 27% is. So we are looking in hiring more women by putting under every job application saying that we especially want women to apply. We also realize that sometimes women, they have more responsibilities. You know, they don't only have their job, they have to take care of their families, they have children, they look after, and often that is a women responsibility. So what we have done in IT is also having crashes, other childcare facilities, and also we did this work-life balance policy so that we make it possible for women to maybe do part-time work or do flexible work. And then, of course, I try to set an example, as you know, you don't have to show you are the same leader as a man. You have your own qualities, which is personal, but also maybe more female. And just set an example and hope others will follow that.
I have 3 plans. 1, I am a mother of boys. I help my children understand that in this world that works for men, they have to be champions for women, starting with their mother. Number 2, as a scientist in a world that very few women choose science, I take my time to mentor young women to succeed in science. And 3 is my work as a nutritionist. By focusing on women and children, I'm able to grow the potential for women and their children to do well in Africa.
One of the ways that I can help is by how I choose to live my life and how I choose to be a leader. So I think one of the ways is that I'm committed to being and demonstrating for others, both girls and boys and women and men, that to be a leader, it's important to be open-minded and to listen. And also that as a leader that you can not always know the answers, and that you can get to a better place and make better decisions if you work as a team.
The site I manage now, I use it as a training ground. And what I mean by that is when I recruit people, I mentor them. And when I feel that they're ready, I push them out and bring someone else in. I work for my staff. Even though I'm the supervisor or the superintendent, my job is to help them develop. My job is to help them on the path to pursue their dreams. So that includes training, exposure, mentoring. It's very important as a leader to surround yourself with people that are strong where you are weak. And it's good to know what your weaknesses are. So I am not afraid to have someone in my environment that are more knowledgeable than myself. So I bring people in and then help them to develop and put them on their way.